Oh, hello. So today's the part 10 of the Mario, I guess the Assetless Mario series. Today we'll be adding in some sounds to the game. Now, we're actually getting very close to finishing everything. I believe there's only like a handful of mechanics left. We still need to grow and shoot, although I don't know if I actually want to add it, as there's only going to be like 3 levels in the game. We have all the enemies sorted. I added the post-processing effects. For those who don't know how to do it, I'm just going to quickly show. So I believe we have one of these guys, which allows us to add some kind of an effect, which I'll do later on. That's how we'll change visuals for different levels. We then also, at our camera, have a post-processing layer, and then we have a post-processing layer set to a layer of post-processing. And then we'll also have an empty game object which has post-processing volume, and this allows us to drag in this profile from here to here and add any effects. Oh, excuse me for that. Bit tired. Slept for too long today. So yeah, we'll be doing sounds today, and for our sounds, I have these guys, all of these. I got these off a website. Let me just bring this up a little bit. There we go. So there is this cool website called sprites.resource.com, which I have up on the screen right now. And I got the sounds from here. If anyone wants them, I'll keep the link when I'll be actually uploading this entire project to GitHub. For anyone who's interested in checking it out. But yeah, let me just play any of the sounds, see what it sounds like. There you go. So basically, what we'll have to do is just code stuff in when they get triggered. Now, let's have a look at the code. I'm trying to think. So sounds will either be placed on our player or on the object, or we'll just create some kind of a sound object that will handle everything. So if we click on here on our coin, what do we have in our coin script? I think I'll queue sounds at some kind of a sound manager. So let's create a let's have a look at our player. I actually didn't think about how I'm gonna do this. 1 second. There we go, back. Okay. Where is the player? So if we go into our player, the player movement, our player is going to have quite a bit of sound scripts himself. So firstly, there are two. Well, let's actually just do it here. Let's create a header and let's call it sound. So first, let's create a private audio source, and let's call it source. And what is an audio source? Well, audio source is where the sound is gonna come from. This controls the volume and whatnot. So let's just quickly add a what do we call it? Audio source, like so. And for our audio source, there is not going to be anything in the clip for now. We're just going to leave the settings as they are for now. There is no need to change them. Since it's serializable, it's a drag in. So controls are. And what do we want the player to do? So we want him definitely to make a sound when he jumps. right? So let's do a let's just do a private audio clip and call it clip, like so. Well, actually let's just call it the jump clip, like so. And every time we jump, what we'll do is let's get rid of this. Not here actually. Where are we? Every time we set to true, we will just call this once. So we will do audio source, no, source.clip, and we're going to make it equal to the jump clip, like so. We actually don't want to make it so it doesn't play on start. If I remember correctly, by default it usually sets it to that. There you go, play awake. So we will disable that here. We now see that we have two sources, so let's just drag in our character for our source, and for our other one we'll go to here and we're going to look for jump. Where is jump? Oh, where is the script? There you go, like so. And now every time we will set it to this sound, and then all we have to do is just play, like so, and this should play our sound when the jump gets called. Now, something that I've changed with, I'll show it in a minute. There you go. It's very annoying, but it works. So actually some changes to the movement. So at first I had just a way to keep holding the button, but if I remember in Mario you did have to click, and before it would only let you click once you've already dropped down on the floor, and that doesn't really feel smooth. So what I actually added was this little piece of code that allows you to press the button to jump before you actually fall down. So you have like a gap. See, I clicked the button. You probably didn't hear it. But I clicked the button before I landed and I jumped anyway. So it doesn't matter if I hit it as I click on the floor. I can still click it in the air and I will do the second jump. So that creates me more of a smooth jumping as that transition between. Is it me or is there like an end sound at the end of this jump? Oh, sounds fine. 1 second. Okay, and I'm sorry for this delay. So this is our first sound that we can add. Let's see what other sounds we have. So here we have a Powerup sound, and the Powerup sound will be triggered when we collect a mushroom. And I'm trying to think if we should have individual sources per action, or if there should be just one. See, because what I'm trying to avoid is so basically what's going to happen is if we add a new sound and try to play instead of that one, they will overlap, and if we try to queue them, then that's going to be another problem, because queuing sounds means that they will play one after another, but we want several sounds to play, I guess. So what I can do is just create a bunch of empty game objects that will be our individual specific sources for the player, and I think that should be the better solution. So let's create a new object and let's call it the jump source. We actually don't need this game object. So we will have our jump source, we will have our pickup source, and let's call it, and let's create a coin source. And rather than doing this in here, we're just going to create a player sound script that will handle all of our player sounds. So let's create a player sounds script. Let's grab our player. I think that will be the better solution. I might change it later, like how I do with everything off screen, but as long as I can show how the code works in theory, I think that's good enough. And then I can just modify whatever I need to do in my own time. Okay, so now let's go back to the movement script. So we know that we have to play these here, but we are not going to handle them like this. So instead, we will just add a multitude of various sources into this code. So let's just go and create some. So we'll have private, let's call it audio source. And let's call this the jump source. Let's also create one coin source, and let's create, so we have the jump coin and we have our power up. We'll create a source for every action that can play on top of the current sounds, like so. And since we already know what sounds they're going to use, we can just play it straight away. So we'll actually manually attach it instead of doing this little clip thing that we have in here. So we can just get rid of this section entirely. Keep player movement and just the player movement. I'm just going to leave this here so it shows us an error. But let's just do public void play. I feel like we can just shorten this to an array. So this is the source. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just say 0 is going to be equal to jump, 1 is going to equal to coin, and 2 is going to be equal to power up, like so. So we'll put play sound. Like so. And we'll take an integer of the source type. And what's going to happen here is we'll just do source type dot play. That's right, it's not an array just yet, like so. And with this, we now can play that individual source. And to make this easier to access, we'll just do public static. I'm actually going to move the player sounds outside of the player class, so we can actually play the sounds even though they're not on a player. The sounds are going to be 2D, so that doesn't matter. So rather than doing it here, I'm going to go here and I'm going to add a player sounds. We can actually manage all of our sounds this way rather than just the individual ones. No, I'm not going to make a new game object because we'll just forget that it's in here. So create a new, is going to call this sound manager. And then these three guys are going to go here, like so. Just going to reset their position to a 0, 0, 0. Add a source to each one of them, like so. Add our player sounds, like so. And then do a public static player sounds instance. We'll make an awake function. And we'll just do instance is equal to this, like so. And now we can easily grab it. Now we can remove this and we can do player sounds dot instance dot play sound, and we're going to put 0 because that's our jump ID, like so. And with this we will play our jump sound without a problem. Now let's get rid of the yellow warning real quick. So let's go through the sounds, check which ones have to be added where. So if we go into jump, we'll just attach the clip straight away. If we go into the pickup, where is it? It's power up. If I remember well, they should be the other way around. Let's have a look at the code. Yeah. So if we open up the sources and just going to lock it and grab all three of them in here, like so. With this, now we have each source correctly added. We just need to make sure they all have the right sounds, and they're set to, I think I'm just gonna leave it as 2D. What was it like? Where is it? Right, left, 2D. Yeah, all of them are set to 2D. Wait, why didn't the other ones move? There you go. Okay, so with this, we have, did we check all of them? Coin, no. Jump, this one's missing a, where is it? Power up. Like so. And none of them should have play on awake enabled. And now if we press play, we still get the exact same sound, which is correct. Now, let's do the exact same thing with everything else now. So now if we go into our coin should have a on trigger enter. So on trigger enter, power up. What is the coin set up as? Okay, it's not tagged. So let's just add a new tag, call it coin. Tag coin for each coin, and then apply. Now, if this dot GameObject.tag is equal to coin, so this script actually works for 3 different objects with 3 different sounds, so we can handle 3 different sounds here, which is great. So what we want to do is the same thing we did in player. So for coin, we're going to change this to 1, and for power up, we're just going to change it to 2. And now if we press play, there we go. There you go. Sounds just like in a game, I think. There we go. Sounds so good, actually. Such a simple thing, but adds a lot. Now, let's have a look at some other sounds that we have within the project. What's this? I don't know what this is for. So I'm not going to use some of the sounds. I have no idea some of these sounds do. Oh, I see. So this plays a different sound based on the type of a jump that we do. What's the difference? Oh, actually, I think we can implement this in a bit, or even now. So if we go into our player controller, controller, where are we? Actually, there was some, no, how did I click on that one? There we go, that one. I've been slowly removing stuff off of this, stuff that is unnecessary. Like this is not necessary. A lot of the events aren't necessary anymore, so that's something I'm gonna get rid of. This event is unnecessary, etc. But yeah, I've been changing things around, removing the code that's not necessary, just to match it. So here we can, this is where we actually determine if it's a big or a small jump. So what I'll actually do here is I will, where are we? So this triggers a jump, but if we can just do this, wait. Yeah, so actually, I need to. I'll do it later. I have some things in my head. I don't know if I want to do it just yet this way. Let's check out some other sounds that we have. Break. Oh, so this is for breaking, I guess. Blocks. No, it sounds a bit off. What other ones do we have? So that's for... Oh, squishing. Yeah, let's add the squishing one next. So number 3 is going to be Squish Enemy. So how do we do squishing? I believe squishing is done... Well, there should be enemy collision. But yeah, of course, some enemies don't get destroyed straight away. We only want to run the squishing in here. So where are we? So this is where they get start being smaller. So I'm just gonna do player sounds. It shouldn't be called player sounds anymore. The instance dot play, and that's gonna be number 3. Actually, now that I think about it, so this is becoming slightly hard to manage. Let's actually make it a little bit easier. So let's create a public enum and let's call it the sound names. And then do a public sound name of sound, like so. And what we're going to pass instead is our enum instead into this function here. So what we will have is we will have a jump, we will have a coin, we will have power up. Now we are doing squish, like so. And now we're going to change this into a enum, of sound names. So sound names. Actually, sound names, the given name, like so. We actually don't need this part, like so. And so what we're going to do is we're just going to do given name. And I believe there is a way to just cast it as an integer, like so. There we go. So now we can easily identify what sound we want by just doing player sounds dot instance dot and it's below sound. What is it called? Sound names. Sound name. Ooh. No, we need that little piece of script that we didn't have earlier. No, that was good. Okay, so let's do public sound names name of sound. And then if we go here, we'll do name of sound. And then we're going to make it equal to dot. And what's this? Enemy collision squish. There you go. Like so. I'm just going to copy this over and put it into our player movement as well. And just change this to jump. And I believe the coin also needs it to be changed. And this is going to be coin. And one more we need to change, which is the power-ups, which is going to be our power-up. So now it's much easier for the person who's reading it to understand what exactly is happening. And even though this looks like a little bit more code, it's just neater. It's more understandable, and we don't have to keep... There you go. So it still works the same way. We didn't change anything in terms of functionality. In fact, we added a little bit more code on top of it, but because we added that little bit of code, we can easily identify which position in this array corresponds to that. So it's like a connection that we can get just by looking at these things without having to keep writing it down and trying to memorize it in our head. So now that we have this, what was the 4th sound that we made? Oh, we made the squishing sound. So let's prepare our sound manager for this by creating a new one and call it the squish source. And we will drag in the squish sound here. And I believe all we have to do is now drag it here. And is the squishing set up? So if we go into enemy collision, yes, it should be set up. So let's press play and try to kill our... Yep. I think the Gomba has to take slightly more damage than... I mean, to give slightly more points. How much points do you give currently? Let's change you to 15 and change... Oh, it is already 25. So maybe let's change it to 20 actually. Now let's do the exact same thing for breaking our blocks. So we have a destroy block. And this is actually what we're going to do throughout the entire video. We'll be just adding a sound that will be correspondent to everything. And run it through our little script that we've created over there. So okay, so I'm going to use this for breaking blocks, and this will be used for blocks that don't get destroyed. So is there a way for us to determine what kind of a block it is? Yes, there actually is. So what we're going to do here is, if is destructible, we're going to play one sound, else we're going to play the other sound. So let's go into our player sounds and add two new variables. We're going to add destruction block and then non-destruction block, like so. And let's just copy this from any of these guys over here. Go here and change this to destruction block and put this one here for non-destruction block, like so. And now we have the sound set up for both of the blocks whenever they'll be destroyed or not. Let's go here, and what are we going to look for? Oh yeah, now we need to create two more sources. We are going to add our destruction block source, and we are going to add another source, non-destruction source. So now let's just attach the break here, and let's attack bump here instead. And let's see how that's gonna work. Oh, interesting. We didn't actually add the arrays in, so that's a big problem. So if we go into the sound master, we forgot to add these guys in here, and that's why the game broke. So oh, it sounds weird. Hello? Okay, I think the sounds are slightly off. Maybe they're not working as they should. Oh, that's right. I think the coroutines are never actually stopping to play. We might have just found an accidental efficiency problem. So I know for a fact that we do go back with the block. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna stop coroutine, and we're gonna stop this specific coroutine. Okay. What does make the boop sound? I'm confused with the sound. Oh, I think that's the enemy actually doing the sound, right? What's the squish? No. I am so confused. Where are we triggering the sounds? Okay. Now let's do it only if it's a destructible. Okay, so that's fine. Okay, so what's the non-destructible block? It's that. Okay, so it was that playing. But why was it playing over and over? Oh, it plays it when he hits it. Mm. That's so interesting. So on disable, this is actually set correctly. So this gets called 5 times. Where does it get called? Oh. So the man-eating plants trigger it, but why would they trigger it? This is going to be a quick debugging session because I don't remember why I did this. Oh, because they go up and down, up and down, up and down. And I just wanted to reuse the up and down of the man-eaters. That's right. So let's just do this. Private bool has sound is equal to true. Okay. If has sounds is equal to true. There we go. And now let's just go find our man-eaters and then disable the sound. Wait, it needs to be serializable. Oh, well, that was funny. There you go. So things like this sometimes happen if you programmed something a while ago and you don't remember everything that uses it. You'll be like, what's happening? Okay, so some changes to here, and now we should be fine. Oh, something is still triggering. Interesting. Okay. Well, this is why we have debugging. Actually, yeah, it'll be easier to set this to default to false. I'm gonna do this real quick. With this, nothing should play it. There you go. So, and now we can just pick the individual things that we want to trigger sounds on. It's going to be much easier that way. At least I will not struggle to find them, because then I just have to select these 2 blocks. There you go. So now it has sounds. Why is it not updating the block? Okay. You know what? Prefabs. Blocks. What's the dark block? Was that me just testing something? Okay. Why is it not updating on every prefab instance? Come on. Okay, now let's do this one more time. Now the scene should update, hopefully. Yep, there we go. Now it works. So now every single block will create the correct sounds, and no enemies will create the sounds that they shouldn't. Or so I thought. You know what? Let's just forget about that one sound for now. I'll figure something else out later. Oh yeah. So now let's add another one, and let's do our player def. But yeah, this is actually essentially what I'll do for all of it. I don't think there's a point in showing how to add every single sound this way. But yeah, there's a bunch of other sounds yet to be added, like the flag sound, the game over, etc. But they will be all handled in the same way. I like how it works. It works really well, actually. I might add, since there is a pause, I think I will add a pause, but I will, yeah, let's add pause into the game. It sounds like a good idea to quickly add to finish off the video. So let's go into our utility script and just, or do we not want it? Nah, not unnecessary. Let's not add the ability to pause. Why would you need to pause in a game? Maybe later. So what else? I was working on platforms in the off screen, but I just never got to finish them. So what I wanted to do was create a script that I'll just keep bouncing from point 1 to point A to point B. And for that, we will essentially just duplicate this code across. And what's going to happen is we'll have a platform that just moves left and right, and it's going to have a slight delay. So again, no need to show how this is done, but I'll be using this while function with the lerp, going to one point and then back. Aside from that, there really hasn't been much going on over the past few days. I didn't really have time to do much. I'm actually interested in working on my personal project, but I won't show anything about that until there is enough to be shown. I believe once this is done, oh yeah, I actually did that a little bit. If I go into prefabs, there's a new type of enemy. And this is basically just, I think something like this existed in the original games. So if I just go through, if you collide with it, you'll get hit, basically. And that's it. The way I set it is that if you have a power-up, you can take a hit from it. And of course, in your invulnerable state, you can't collect money. That was actually something I decided to do. Ooh, I'm dead. Oh! Yeah. But yeah, those will be used in the final level, as I only plan to do 3 levels for this game. The sounds are so annoying. I hate the sounds. But yeah, something that'll be added later. We get an error here because there's no other levels for now, but it's looking good. In the next part that I'll be streaming, I think we will finally do the. We'll be probably working towards the scores and making last changes for the player. I'll make all of the levels off camera, so that if anyone wants to try this out, they can have a play. The levels will be, well, I don't know. I'll just come up with something. I never played the games, and I don't want to look at how the game originally made it. I don't want to copy it 100%. So, however I see it fitting, that's how I'll do it. Whenever we'll add the final boss fight or not, I don't know. That depends. I will look at what kind of mechanics he had in the original, and if it's something unique, I'll add it. If it's just the same, then there's no point in adding it to the game. At least I think so myself. But yeah, that's it for today. Game's going along pretty well. I'm happy with it. I'll try to stream again tomorrow and try to finish it probably by the end of this week. There really isn't much left to do. Mhm. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna go have some food and have a